All right, now let's talk about the Jain doctrines and Jain philosophy. Just some glimpses of Jain philosophy and Jain doctrines. So, we mentioned about the sectarian disputes between Digambars and Shvetambars. But by 4th or 5th century, there arose another major text called Tattvarth Sutra. Now, who wrote Tattvarth Sutra? First of all, Tattvarth Sutra was written in Sanskrit language, not in Prakrit. So, Sanskrit makes an entry into Jainism by way of Tattvarth Sutra, which is now accepted both by Digambars and Shvetambars. So, text is accepted in Sanskrit both by Digambar and Shvetambar, but the author of the text is again disputed. Digambars call the author Uma Swami, right? So, masculine name. But Shvetambar accept the author as Uma Swati, maybe a feminine or female name. So there is another dispute there. But at least the text is accepted both by Digambar and Shvetambar, Tattvarth Sutra, 4th or 5th century CE. So this is the first major Jain text in Sanskrit. It's also kind of quasi-scripture. It is highly revered text, highly, very, very important philosophically. But this was written almost 1,000 years after Mahavir had lived. So 4th or 5th century CE, like I mentioned. Tattvarth Sutra. So if you break the word Tattva, Arth and Sutra, Sutras are the mnemonics or the coded written words. Rules on the meaning of the reals. Tattva Arth meaning, Tattva Arth Sutra. Tattva is reality, the meaning of reality. Tattva Arth Sutra. So codes for the meaning of reality. The ultimate reality, how to explain that those explanations are mentioned in coded language in short mnemonic rules. So if you translate this word Tattvarth Sutra, it will become mnemonic rules on the meaning of the reals. Right? Now, so this entire text is organizing the various Jain elements such as epistemological, metaphysical, ethical, cosmological, and practical. All the different aspects of Jainism are covered in this one text called Tattvarth Sutra. It also talks about the three jewels, the Ratnatraya that we saw in the previous presentation: right faith, that is Samyak Darshan; right knowledge, that is Samyak Gyan; and right behavior, Samyak Charitra. So positive and well-formed exposition on all these three jewels of Jainism. Then this text, Tattvarth Sutra text, talks about universe and the beings, the jivas present in this universe, the Jain Loka, the Jain universe. It talks about the origin, disappearance, and permanence of different entities. Realist metaphysics of simultaneous change and stability it talks about. And continuous change and permanence also it talks about. Some things, some features of the universe are changing forever, continuously changing. Some features of the universe are permanent. So when it talks about continuous changing, continuous transformations, that reminds us, that compares very well with Buddhism. And when Tattvarth Sutra talks about permanence of certain entities, then it comes very close to Hinduism, because in Hinduism we know about Brahman, which is permanent, and here Jainism also talks about certain things which are permanent, that is soul. There is no Brahman in Jainism, but there is soul, the Atman. Atman is permanent, Brahman is permanent in Hinduism. Buddhism says there is no Brahman, there is no Atman, everything is always changing, always transforming. So Jainism says body or material form is changing, but soul remains constant. So some parts, in some ways it compares well with Buddhism, some ways it compares with Hinduism. All right, now Tattvarth Sutra has 10 chapters total, 350 verses total, 350 verses. Chapter names are Moksha Marg, Bhava, then Naraka and Dvipa, Deva, Ajiva and Dravya, Ashrava, Shubha Ashubha Karma, Bandha, Samvar and Nirjara, and finally Moksha. We'll get to these meanings also, these words and these meanings shortly. All right, now let's talk about what happens in omniscient state when Mahavir, for example, or other Tirthankaras or other Jinas, as they achieve Keval Gyan or omniscience, what happens to them? First of all, at the time of omniscience, they get immediate and unmediated experience of the ultimate reality. Immediate, right there, right at that time, at that place, they get the ultimate universal knowledge, universal wisdom. Unmediated, there is no God, there is no angel that is acting as a mediator between them and the supreme knowledge. They know and they see everything in the universe at all times and in all possible modifications simultaneously. They know the past, present, future of all the beings in the universe and at all times. They become, these Tirthankaras, these Jinas become totally trustworthy faultless and authoritative. Trustworthy, faultless and authoritative. They get authority based on the Keval Gyan. They are now completely faultless, completely devoid of any karma particles on their soul. Their soul is now absolutely pristine, clean. Right? So trustworthy also. Then, Loka and Aloka. What is the Jain universe and what is Jain non-universe? Universe and non-universe. So Jain universe is in this shape. We will show you the image also of the Jain universe. So this, beyond this Jain universe, outside is the Jain non-universe. So Loka is in this shape. Beyond that is Aloka. So Loka is open space, which is seen by the omniscient ones. So when people, Tirthankaras such as Mahavir or Parshvanath or Adinath, they can see in entire universe, whatever is happening in this entire universe, that becomes their sort of territory where they can see completely past, present, and future. This is the Jain Loka. But beyond that is Aloka. So universe is finite. It's finite, it's fixed. But so spatially it is finite, chronologically it is infinite. It is without beginning and without end. Universe was always here and it will always remain here. It is never going to be ending. It will be always present. Jain universe is always 100% permanent. But by space, it is limited. It is fixed. It's not infinite. It is not like Hinduism or even modern science, which says that the universe is ever expanding. Jain universe is fixed. It is not expanding. It is fixed. But time-wise, chronologically, it is infinite. Now, as the souls achieve moksha from the earth is in the middle, the Jain universe. Middle part is the earth. So as people achieve moksha, those souls get transferred to the Siddhaloka, where the last portion of the universe, which is called as the final frontier. So the souls will reside there forever. These are the liberated souls that are at the roof of the universe, final frontier of the universe, which I call. Right? So universe then in a nutshell is container of souls, motion, that is medium of motion, medium of rest, dharmastikai, adharmastikai, atomic matter, pudgal, and space, akasha. So all these things reside in the universe forever. Universe has its own heavens, Jain universe has its own heavens, hells, island continents on the earth, mountains, and oceans. Then Aloka is outside the Loka with strong winds. That's beyond the universe. Now, how wide is the earth in the Jain universe and how high is the Jain universe? So the measurements are given like this, that earth is one rope wide, one rajju, the width is one rajju or rope. Rajju is the distance that if a god would be flying for 6 months at 10 million miles per second, so that distance, the final calculation would give us one rope, one rajju. So earth is one rajju wide, one rope wide. Loka is 14 ropes high or long. So 14 times more is the height of the Loka, the Jain universe, and earth is 1/14 of the height of the universe. So that's the ratio that Jain universe gives us, Jain Loka gives us. And then space interpenetrates both Loka and Aloka. So space is present in the universe and also beyond universe. But in the Jain non-universe, there are no souls. Souls are only within the Jain universe. All right. Then Jain cosmography. Jambudvipa is the central island on the Jain earth, on the earth. Its central island is called as Rose Apple Tree or Jambudvip simply, which has Bharat, Airavat and Mahavideh as Karma Bhumi. Dhataki Khanda is also mentioned. Then Pushkar Dvipa is mentioned, an island, an abode of humankind. All humans are living on Pushkar Dvipa. Then there are hells that are below the earth, which are deteriorating and where demons are living as punishments. When people have a lot of negative karmas, they are thrown into hells, and they have to serve their punishments. And then once the punishment is over, metaphorically, then they come back to the earth. Then heavens are above the earth. Those are where one can enjoy all kinds of pleasures. Those are also temporary, and once that quota of positive karma is finished or diminished, they have to come back to the earth and do more karmas, they have to again strive for their moksha. One cannot achieve moksha from heaven or hell. They have to come back to the earth, and from earth only they can strive for moksha, and once they achieve moksha, they go to the final frontier of the universe. So final frontier, then the heavens, then the earth, and then the hells. That's the Jain cosmography. All right. Now, five fundamental entities are, which are the five fundamental entities? Five astikayas, that is existing bodies, in which the first one is jiva or soul. Jiva could be stationary or moving, sthavar or trasa. Plants are stationary. Trasas are insects, gods, demons, animals, and humans. Then within ajivas, there are five kinds of beings, five kinds of things, which are dharmastikaya, adharmastikaya, pudgalastikaya, akashastikaya, and samayastikaya. So dharma is that which carries, medium of motion. Adharma, that which stops. Pudgala is body bound by karma, the karma particles. Akasha, space, which is in both loka and non-loka, aloka, universe and non-universe. And samay, also non-living being. Now, and so bhutadaya is to be practiced, like I mentioned in the previous slide also, that only one sense beings are to be consumed, five sense beings are not to be consumed, not to be hurt by practicing Jains. And then nine reals, nine tattvas are mentioned also in Jain text, in Jain cosmography, in Tattva Sutra. The nine tattvas are jiva, ajiva, asrava. Asrava means flowing in of karma particles on one's soul. Punya, the meritorious actions. Papa, the morally negative actions. Bandha is type of binding of karma to the soul. Samvara is warding off of inflowing karma. To stop the inflow of karma is called as samvara. Nirjara is destruction of karma particles. Whatever old particles are stuck to soul are to be destroyed, are to be cleansed off. That process is called as nirjara. And finally, when all karma particles are gone from soul, one gets moksha, that is spiritual deliverance, the liberation. That happens when that happens, when that soul will go to the final frontier of the universe, the topmost floor of the universe.